Got a car that's a little loose or tight? Just tell me how it's handling, and I'll whip up instant setup recommendations just for you. Want me to get even more precise? Snap a picture of your setup, and I'll fine-tune it to perfection. And hey, I'm not just about giving orders. I'll explain why every adjustment matters, so you can really understand your ride. I'll even teach you the science behind the setup. Ever wondered why the track bar is so important? I've got the answer. With Pocket Crew Chief, I'll make you smarter, faster, and race ready. So what are we waiting for? Let's build to win. Hey partner,
Tonight, the drivers of the Mythic Metals Truck Series presented by Spark Racing League are taking on one of the bigger challenges of the season at Auto Club Speedway. A track we can't run anymore in real life. We're here tonight in iRacing and we'll have all 80 laps live as always on Slingshot Racing Media. I'm Sky Shrek. I'm joined up here in the booth tonight by Logan Threlkeld and Kobe Jordan in the production truck. Logan, tell us a little bit about Auto Club and what we're in for tonight.
You know, Sky, I started out on this service absolutely despising this track. I could not find any success here in Fontana, California at all. But in the recent months, things have changed. I've come to really love this track, but unfortunately, it has been buried under warehouses and parking lots as of 2023. Now, with that being said, I'm so glad we still have access to this racetrack here on the iRacing service. It is a fantastic 2-mile track, 14 degrees of banking in the corners with a little bit of banking across the front stretch, just about 11 degrees there. And it is just, it constantly produces amazing races from everything that I've seen here. And I cannot wait to see what these drivers here in the Mythic Metals Truck Series can do.
We're going to take a quick look at our points tonight before we hit the field for tonight's race. Derek Smith is your points leader with 2 wins on the season, but Levi Cox also with 2 wins, and Evan Pienta, still looking for his first, are not far behind him with 3 races left to go. Chris Smith sits 4th right now with Rye Jones 5th and Braxton DeWeese in 6th. Chase Berry 7th tonight, Brandon Ayers in 8th, James Danforth, Brian Bropes round out your points top 10 with Jacob Phillips P11 and Johnny Rapp in P12. We're going to take one quick look at your schedule as well as we get ready for tonight's race. We are in race 8 of 10. We've been to Daytona, Rockingham, Pocono, Kentucky, Milwaukee, Talladega, and Portland. Coming off the off week last week, these drivers are now at Auto Club, and we've only got 2 more, Dover and Homestead, before we hit the end of the season. So it's going to be all out here over these last 3 weeks to grab as many points as you can before we hit the final race of the season. Looking at your qualifying order right now, we've got a couple drivers who we might expect to do well pretty high up. Some things we're going to be following tonight: multiple lanes, drivers are going to be running low, going to be running high. We'll see how their choices of lane evolve over the course of the race. You always got to manage your tires here at Auto Club, especially when the track is quite hot as it is today. And the draft might play a role in this here, in this truck series at Auto Club. You're on the throttle a lot of the time, and that might lead to a little bit of drafting action in these corners, along with we're coming off the off week, so these drivers have had a week to rest and recover from Portland before heading into tonight. We're going to send it down quick to the national anthem, and when we come back, we will have your qualifying results and the race. Stay tuned. We are back here in the Mythic Metals Truck Series at Auto Club, and in just a second, we're going to get the results of qualifying for your race tonight here at Auto Club as these drivers hit the grid. You can see them hitting the track right there. On pole tonight will be Derek Smith in the 66. Johnny Rapp is going to sit on his outside in the 52. Rye Jones will roll off third tonight. Brandon Ayers in the 16 in P4. Levi Cox goes from 5th in the 54. Robert Probst 6th in the 5. Good effort for Laura Wiseman. She starts 7th in the 84. Chris Smith looks to get some points tonight, 8th in the 28. Rounding out your top 10 will be Chris French in the 53 and Jacob Phillips in the 56.
Row 6 will be Evan Pienta in the 55 machine next to the 8 of Ellis Thomas starting out in 12th. Row 7, Braxton Deweese in the 15 machine starts out in 13th next to the 11 of Brian Probst. Jake Mackey and Rob Liedl will make up row 8 there representing BFR, Big Fast Racing. Row 9, Max Cost, another teammate right there behind with Steve Vest in the 60 machine starting out in 18. Last but not least, in the top 20, it's the 88 of James Danforth next to Tony Caputo in the 14.
Last two drivers taking a qualifying time tonight will be Aiden Neese in the 45, Paul Hahn in the 7. Back from there, not qualifying, will be Chase Berry in the 46, Zachary Mitchell in the 23 and 24th. And then the last three cars on your field will be Tom Lickert in the 99, Paul Thomas in the 42, and Nathan Gentry in the 18. That'll round out a 27-car field for tonight's race. And as we get ready to take the green flag, who's your pick tonight, Logan?
You know, I'm waiting to see a specific driver on the podium. I don't really want to announce it just yet. I want to wait a little bit later into the race. That way I don't potentially put that broadcaster's curse on him too early. But I've got my pick in mind, and I'll hold on to it for now.
All right. I think Derek Smith is a good shot here tonight. He's already won 2 races this season. He's your current points leader going from pole. I think he's got a pretty good shot to bring home number 3, but we've got a full field of 26 cars and several drivers like Evan Pienta that'll be looking to disrupt his dominance in this series and steal that points lead away. Pace car is off, and as we head down towards the start zone, we are green at Auto Club. '66 loose there on the bottom. That's going to give the run to the 54 of Levi Cox on the top. They'll go side by side now down through 3, and we might go 3 wide as here comes Rye Jones looking all the way down on that bottom line. Derek Smith, is starting to fall back, and it's Johnny Rapp to P2. It's Levi Cox to the lead as we finish lap 1.
And what a battle it already is. Look at Johnny Rapp go, getting right up to the back bumper of Levi Cox here across that front stretch and dives down into the bottom of turn 1. It's going to be door-to-door. Rapp with momentum here. Let's see if he can carry it on exit. Pushes Levi Cox all the way up to the wall, giving plenty enough room, however. That's going to leave that 54 an opportunity to drive right around the outside. Rapp gets right back into the back bumper here before turn 3.
We mentioned it last week. Johnny Rapp had a great race at Portland. First top 5 of the season. He's looking to make it 2 tonight. He's looking to snag his first win tonight at Auto Club. We're going to come to the line, and he will lead lap 2, going all the way down on the apron to try to find speed over the 54 car of Levi Cox. It's a really shallow entry into those turns for Rapp, which might hurt his tires later on in the run, but for now is helping him keep that lead.
Sky, one thing I think we forgot to mention here in the pre-race, not only is the competition fierce on track, but we're bringing the competition to you folks at home. As you've seen here lately, YouTube now keeps track of who our top commenter is of the night, and we are giving away a die-cast here. That'll be a Kyle Larson 2022 Homestead Wind 164th diecast, and all you have to do is keep active in the chat all race long. Rack up as many points as you can with that YouTube system, and you could get a diecast in the mail in just a few days. But look at this three-wide battle coming off of turn number 2. Chris French down on the bottom of it. Robert Probst, and I believe that's Chris Smith up there on the top. We're going to get back to single or double file down into turn 3.
Yeah, as Levi Cox holds the lead, the battle for 5th is going strong here with Probst, Ayers, Smith, and French banging doors for this spot. We're side by side for the lead now as well, because Derek Smith has caught back up to Levi Cox after a bad first lap. That 66 has got the momentum back, and he's now looking on the inside to try and get clear of Cox. Tries a bit of a slide job there, but the 54 holds steady at the door, keeps the lane on exit. Levi Cox takes the run away, and he'll lead down the back straightaway. You can see that the draft is very much in effect here with how close all these cars are.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I've come to love Auto Club here. One of my favorite types of racing is super speedway racing, and this doesn't quite fall in that category. Man, oh man, Rye Jones cuts the nose off of Johnny Rapp there. And he's going to tuck right in behind the back bumper. But anyways, Auto Club kind of puts itself in its own category with this 2-mile configuration. Not quite an intermediate track, not quite a super speedway, but it has all of the speed to fall under that category, as we're going to be screaming down the backstretch and into turn 3 just at 180 miles an hour.
And you can make so many different lines work here. Right now, the top seems to be the preferred line for some of these drivers, or even the middle through turns 3 and 4. You're not seeing drivers run all the way around the bottom, because that doesn't seem to give these drivers the best run right now. You're seeing them move a lane or 2 or 3 or 4 up the racetrack, depending on where they are, to try and make some speed right at the present moment. Right now, we're sitting 2 wide for P5. That's Johnny Rapp and Chris Smith. 1 spot in front of them is the 16 of Brandon Ayers in 4th. We still haven't gotten this sort out back here. They've been side by side pretty much all race at this point, and there's no signs that they're going to get it single file anytime soon.
And that 52 of Johnny Rapp already experiencing what it's like to be battling for the lead, holding the lead, and now falling back to the clutches of some of these other drivers, finding himself right in the mix of it. Braxton Luis hanging on to that outside line above Johnny Rapp here, still trying to find that ground to get through and complete that pass. But Rapp, I like the strategy here. Wrap the bottom around the track, and you're going to save tires. Tires are going to be huge here tonight. 120 degrees on the track surface right now, Sky.
Yeah, you said it. Johnny is wrapping the bottom right now in that 52 car. He's got it working a little bit, but I just think the top is the better line right now, and you've seen a lot of cars kind of blow around him. What that bottom lane will do for you here earlier in this run is it will save your tires. While Rapp is falling back right now, he might have a little more speed towards the back end of this run if it stays green, because he's been taking the shorter distance around the track, the more tire-friendly distance around the track. It's not working great right now, but give him about 10 or 15 laps, it could come back to that 52 car, and you could see him back up in the top 5.
And we mentioned the draft being important here. Still looking at some of the telemetrics here coming through. And I don't know if you noticed it, Sky. I mentioned the super speedway speeds. We had a couple of the drivers just outside the top 10 with the draft hitting 190 miles an hour down into turn 1.
Yeah, this track does have those long 2-mile straightaways. And this is a truck, too. You barely even hit 190 in a truck at Daytona. This place produces some fast speeds, and you've seen how much the draft is working, because 10 laps into this race, there's only about 2 seconds separating the top 12 cars. Everybody's in one big line down the back straightaway, except for Derek Smith, who's going to pull alongside Levi Cox here, try to take this lead away on the inside. He likes the slide jobs off the corner, but so far they haven't really worked for that 66 car. He's now under threat from Rye Jones, who will duck it down to the bottom.
Levi Cox sees that in the mirror. He immediately goes to block it. He had quite a bit of room there. Not sure why the 54 shot all the way down to the bottom of the track, but he's going to hold on to that middle line here through 1 and 2. Rye Jones will complete that pass on Derek Smith and slot up into the second position, but you can see that 54 getting a much better run off the corner as well as the 66. A little bit of a shove to the 91 right before turn 3. That's going to get Rye Jones just a little bit closer, but has to get on the brakes a little bit harder as well to slow it down to get to the bottom of the track and right back up to the top in front of Derek Smith out of 4.
Rye Jones, another one of those drivers who's had a lot of good results this season, but hasn't been able to bring home a win yet. 3 top 5s, 5 top 10s in 7 races, but hasn't found his way up onto that top step of the podium. This could be his chance tonight. He's got a fast car in the early going at Auto Club. We'll see if he can take his 2 second place finishes this season and improve them to a first place finish here tonight as he continues to chase down the 54 of Levi Cox.
Levi Cox sitting in that second position on the point standings, looking to finish ahead of that 66 of Derek Smith. That's going to be just about as best of a race as you could ask for in the late runnings of the season. Doing a great job holding it out in front, the clean air being a big factor right now for the 54. But Rye Jones going to shoot it down to the bottom of the track again, try this pass one more time as there's action behind with, I believe that's Brandon Ayers and Braxton DeWeese. Side by side out of 2 goes Levi Cox and Rye Jones, and we're going to do that 3 rows deep.
We'll see if Rye Jones can make this bottom work. He's all the way down on that white line, trying to grip the inside lane around this corner, but it just won't give him the run off the exit. The 54 very clearly has that high line working, and he's been able to use it to hold this lead. I think if you are going to pass Levi Cox, you're going to have to do it on the top. Go even higher than Levi is. Run about a lane off the wall, and you might be able to get him. Right now, the inside does not seem to be the way around that 54 car.
The inside certainly being the slower line right now, but that could change later in this race as these drivers adapt to moving up the track. The temperature of the track will follow. So you might very well see these drivers bring it back down to the bottom as we're going to have a handful of them here running through 3 and 4, hugging that apron. Ryan Brobst right now is going to lose that spot to Johnny Rapp and has another one laying in wait to get by. That's going to be the 13 of Jake Mackey in the top 10.
Mackey looking for a good run. He has not had a great season. This would be big for him. And look at Rye Jones doing another kind of strategy here, running the top line to try to get around Levi Cox. He's all the way up on the wall. I said that might be the way around. We'll see if he can make it work here on that 54 car. This time he'll follow in the tire tracks of Cox on entry. Doesn't look like he'll be able to get it here, but this could potentially set up a pass if he's able to get the draft down this straightaway into 1. We'll see for this 91 car. He's definitely closing in with the draft as we make our way down into turn 1 here. And he's just going to follow that 54 again. Not close enough to get anything going this time. We're trying to go side by side back for third. Braxton DeWeese is making a big lunge on Brandon Ayers.
And he completes it. That was a perfectly executed pass there in 1 and 2, but it does give up some speed down the backstretch. Ayers looks to the inside here for 3 and 4. He's going to hold it right there on that left rear quarter panel. DeWeese will have the run out of the corner this time and be well clear of the 16 machine. Now, mentioning the passing opportunities for Rye Jones in that number 1 spot, it's got to be perfectly timed as we're 3 wide here in the background of that one. I think that's Chris French on the bottom of Johnny Rapp, Jake Mackey. Indeed it was. Didn't quite get to see that one fully develop. Apologize, that caught my eye.
Talking about Braxton DeWeese right now, he's gone 13-3 in the early stages of this race. Our biggest mover so far And he's done it by running a mix of lines. We've seen him down on this bottom when he's in clear air, but to get moves done, that 15 likes to glue it up on the wall, which we've seen be a very good line to make passes because you're able to get the run out of the corner and onto the big straightaways here. Deweese up 10, would look to get up 11 here if he can get around Rye Jones. Second biggest mover, Aiden Neese, back in 13, is up 8.
I like Rye Jones using that high line. However, you don't want to abuse that high line. That is just going to chew up these tires here. Right now, I think the best case scenario for the 91 is to try to work with the 15 across the front stretch and down the back stretch. But we're going to be all sorts of fanned out through 3 and 4. Levi Cox uses that middle line. Rye Jones up at the top of the track. Deweese all the way down on that white line, even through the tri-oval area. This is interesting to see all 3 drivers in the top 3 using different lines.
Well, the tire wear has really started to kick in here. We're already over a second and a half off of the driver's fastest laps to start this run. That's why you've seen the draft here in this field kind of break up a little bit. The cars start to space out a little more. And it's also going to really hurt the handling of these cars. It's going to diminish the amount of moves they can make, and it's going to take away some spaces where they could have made moves before, but can't anymore. So it's very much a balancing act of both saving tires and also moving your way up through the field here to get back up through the field. As we hit lap 20, tires are only going to get worse unless we get a yellow here or until the next green flag pit stop, which is likely going to be at least 10 laps away.
I didn't quite get a chance to talk to some of these drivers about what this fuel run might be tonight. However, knowing how they like to set these races up, I would expect to see around that lap 35 area when the fuel really starts to become an issue. And here we see Deweese and Jones both to the bottom line. Jones gets a good run through 3 and 4, nearly catches the back bumper of Levi Cox, but he's not going to quite get there. Hugs onto it, however, across the tri-oval. Deweese all the way down to the bottom, trying to make a run, just can't quite get there. Oh, the 63 of Max Cost having issues on pit road.
That is a huge hit for that 63 car. This wasn't him trying to get on pit road. This was a crash into the pit road entry barrier for the 63 of Max Cost. Giant hit. Spins it into the pit lane. No caution because he's off the racetrack, but that is the end of the night for Max Cost. Guaranteed that car is destroyed.
That 0-bar truck in critical condition right there. We'll take another look here. It happens with contact in the wall just on the exit of turn 4 here. Luckily, doesn't collect any other drivers, but man, it just shot all the way to the bottom of the track, and it looks like he's trying to get it to pit road. Just can't quite get there. Man, destroys the front end, and that's an immediate visit to that infield care center for Max Cost.
I also want to mention, he's going to be our second retirement of the race. Our first retirement, third in points, Evan Pienta, who appeared to have some kind of tech issue around lap 5 or 6 in this race and just came down the pits, took himself out of the car, and ended his night. So Evan Pienta, second, or I believe third place in points coming into this race, is going to be our last place finisher here. That could really, really hurt him coming down to the end of the season. Also going to be hurt is Braxton Deweese. You saw him in the wall there through 1 and 2. Hopefully he doesn't have any damage on that car, or else it might take him out of contention for the lead.
As much as you would think a smaller track outside of that super speedway description, you know, a lot of times aero damage isn't that big of a factor, but tonight it is. You have to race this track like it is a super speedway from green flag to checkered flag. Braxton Deweese looks to be okay right now. I can't see any real damage on that 15 truck, and he's still holding a great pace right behind Levi Cox and Rye Jones. But the battle is on behind with Brandon Ayers at threat now, again from the 66 of Derek Smith. And right behind that, it's Johnny Rapp on the hunt again, trying to get around Chris Smith.
We mentioned it. He was saving tires in the early part of that run, looking to get some speed on the back half, and he seems to have that speed right now. We'll see if he can use it to close in on Cox, Jones, and Deweese, because as those three continue to do battle, it's only going to help the cars behind who have been running a little bit calmer and who have been saving the tires by running that bottom lane more consistently. Last time around, Rapp, who is in traffic, was slower than Cox but faster than Rye Jones. The fastest car in the top 10 was actually Chris French back in 8th, who's kind of running all by himself, can run whatever line he wants because he's not battling with anybody. He seems to have saved his rubber pretty well. That 53 car is trying to move back up through the field as we're side by side for second. Deweese might get the move done here.
This is a good opportunity as he gets a big run down through 3 and 4, but he's going to slot right back up in behind Levi Cox. Finally getting around that 91 of Rye Jones. Cox doing everything he can to break that draft, but he's got to pick somebody to give the draft to. But this is what he wants to see as he holds the lead right now as a battle for second place. But Braxton Deweese down to the bottom of the track with good speed. Will he be able to get up there in front of Cox? No, it's going to be door to door on the exit. And now Rye Jones dives to the bottom of Braxton Deweese, trying to take back that second place position.
Crossover move for Rye Jones. He's going to look to the bottom and try to steal second back from Braxton Deweese in the 15. As Levi Cox watches this all play out, the 91 is going to try to get a draft with him down this front straightaway. Will this help Jones or will this help Deweese? It's looking like it'll help Jones. It'll keep him even with that 51 car going down into 1, where otherwise Deweese might have prevailed with that run you get from being on the top lane. We'll stay side by side through 1 and 2. The battle's not over yet. Would like to mention as this goes on, the pit window has begun. Robert Brobst, first car down for 4 tires.
I tell you what, Sky, I see exactly what the 54 of Levi Cox is doing right now. He's trying to keep that battle going behind, but Braxton Deweese does prevail over Rye Jones, and he makes a dive to the inside in 3 and 4, and he's going to hold that inside line across the front stretch once again, but Levi Cox with the speed off of the exit of 4 using that high line. He's going to get back around just before that checkered line and keep Deweese out of the laps led column for now.
Levi Cox led that lap by 1/1000th of a second over Braxton Deweese. This is a tight battle here on lap 28 for the lead of the race. Deweese is finally making that inside line work. We haven't seen a car really make a move down there on the bottom up at the front of the field yet. 15 might have the best chance out of anybody, but it's a bad entry here, and that'll hurt him on exit as well, because as the 54 gets the better run off the corner, he'll get clear, and Braxton Deweese will have to tuck back in for P2, although, will Cox give up the high line? Not quite. He holds strong over Deweese on lap 29. More cars coming into the pits here, including Derek Smith from the top 5.
And it's incredible to think that Deweese is up here battling for this position right now as he is up 11 spots, started outside of the top 10. Had to use quite a bit of tire to get here, but he's going to use every single bit of it to take over this lead. Big dive to the inside. He is clear. Can he get the slide job completed? Here he goes up the track. The 54 is going to be behind on that back bumper. Looks to the inside, tries to get that lap led once again. He does it. He gets the run across the front stretch and still keeps Deweese out of the laps led column.
Man, Deweese can't buy a way around Levi Cox. What a battle. This 54 car is doing an amazing job on defense. He's going to try to squeeze Deweese up the racetrack here as we exit 1 and 2. But the 15 still has the better run down the back straightaway, and he will be clear off into 3 and 4. Will Deweese finally have the lead, finally be able to lead a lap? Or will Levi Cox find yet another way around that 15 car? Right now, it's looking like advantage Deweese as more cars continue to come to pit road, including Rye Jones and Brandon Ayers and Levi Cox.
Levi Cox falling out of that second position. He's going to give up that number 1 spot to Braxton Deweese here. No more challenge. I think it's just a matter of seeing that Deweese had used that much tire to gain 12 positions and still was able to complete that pass. Maybe a little uncomfortable with the tire wear, but he's going to get freshened up here as the battle is on for third place. Johnny Rapp trying to hold on to it. Apologize, Chris Smith. Got the Smiths mixed up. We've got too many of them out here on track occasionally, but it looks like Braxton Weiss might be slowing it down here on the bottom to bring it into pit road. He does. That's going to give Johnny Rapp a lap lead now in the 52 machine.
Lap time's 2 seconds off the driver's fastest lap. Will that be enough for Levi Cox to take the undercut and get back ahead of Braxton DeWeese as we exit the pits? We'll see here, but I think this one extra lap on fresh tires might be what Levi Cox needs to get the lead back. Most of the cars in the field have come down. Looking at the ticker there, your top 9 from Johnny Rapp back to Rob Liedl in 9th are the cars who are still out on the track. They're going to come down here over the next few laps. Looks like Johnny Rapp might be making the turn in right here. No, he will go another time, but Ellis Thomas behind him will bring it down. So more cars continuing to come into the pit lane. Big moment there for Ellis Thomas, but he makes it in clean, hits the speed limit, and he'll get a nice pit stop in here for 4 tires. Doesn't matter that he burned them off entering.
A little slidey there, and I'm sure a little sketchy in the driver's seat. Got it collected back up here. Now Jake Mackey holds on to that number 2 spot. Coming down the back stretch, he'll have, I'm not sure what number that was going around the outside, but I am hearing calls now from Johnny Rapp, our current race leader, will now bring it down here on lap 33. And I would say just about the rest of the field has to follow at this point.
Look at the ticker, because the undercut has really shaken everything up right now. First car on fresh tires is Derek Smith in the 66 on that undercut. Then it's Rye Jones. Robert Brobst is third on that pit cycle. Levi Cox, Brandon Ayers, Braxton DeWeese, who came down later than everybody else in the top 5, is going to come out P6. So he's going to have a little bit fresher tires, but he's going to have a lot of work to do to fight his way back up to the lead.
He's done it once already this race. And starting in that 13th position, made it up to the number 1 spot after a heated battle with Rye Jones and Levi Cox. Now, currently, Jacob Phillips in the 56 machine will get a lap lead, and I'd say he would have to bring it down pit road now. I think that's the end of that fuel cell capacity here on lap 34. Derek Smith will assume the lead as Jacob Phillips does indeed bring it down. So he's got a half lap advantage, but that will disappear rather quickly. Derek Smith is already entering turn 3.
Yeah, the 56 will take that bonus point for leading a lap here and will bring it down. And it will cycle around to either Derek Smith or Rye Jones, because we're door to door coming out of 4. It's Derek Smith across the start-finish line, but Rye Jones is there, and he's got a couple lap fresher tires that he's going to use to make this move happen. Rye Jones clear to P1 in turn 1. Can he get his first win of the season?
Setting up very well for it. And a long green flag run to start this one out. If you're Rye Jones, you have to hope that that trend continues, as he has got quite a bit of room, just over a second over Levi Cox, who will be the freshest tires of the top 5 drivers. So the 54 has an opportunity to get right back up to where he was. Robert Brobst, Brandon Ayers will make up your top 5, along with Rye Jones, Derek Smith, and Levi Cox. And Braxton DeWeese will hold down the 6th spot. Chase Berry in 7th. Aiden Neese runs 8th. Chris Smith and Chris French will round out the top 10.
Look at how much time DeWeese needs to gain. He does have fresher tires to make up that 3.6 second gap, but they're not that much fresher. They're only 2 laps better than Ayers and Jones, 4 laps better than Derek Smith, and 1 lap better than Levi Cox, who's currently 2.5 seconds ahead of that 15 car. So, will Braxton DeWeese be able to make it back up to Levi Cox, or is that undercut going to get that 54 car the spot here? How far back will Derek Smith fall? Will Rye Jones be able to hold the lead? A lot of questions to be answered here on this second green flag run. Brandon Ayers threatening Robert Brobst. He has the oldest tires in the field. He was the first car to come down and he is already starting to struggle, running 7/10 off his best lap.
I don't dislike the strategy, however. He could extend the second run past the first run and do a full fuel window here. So about 33 to 34 laps, and give himself potentially the freshest tires in the field, depending on where the other drivers decide to come in for that second set. So there's strategy already starting to develop. It's just going to be a matter of which one works out the best if this green flag run continues, and I'm certainly hoping that it does.
Levi Cox has caught back up to Derek Smith for P2 in that battle. Cox does have the fresher tires, and he's got the high line on the 66. That could be the advantage he needs, working through 3 and 4, and it is. Easy pass there for the 54 of Levi Cox. He's clear of Derek Smith, and now his sights are set on Rye Jones to take back the lead that he has held for the majority of this race.
And he's going to make up a full 10th of a second out of turn 4 down into turn 1. He's going to slow it up a little bit more than Rye Jones mid-corner, but he gets a better drive off as you see that time still starting to count down there on the left side of your screen. It looks like 0.6 of a second will kind of be the magic number here to remember. Now a little bit of connection issue for Levi Cox. That'll be a big effect on the 54 machine, as well as surrounding drivers if this gets a little bit tighter up here in the top 3.
That could be a problem as we are 1 lap shy of halfway through this race. It's green flag all the way so far. Rye Jones holds the lead on an undercut over Levi Cox, Derek Smith, and the battle for 4th ongoing between Brandon Ayers and Braxton DeWeese. And on the better tires, it is an easy move for that 15 car, who's taken big bites out of the lead here as he tries to fight his way back up to the lead, which he held before the pit stop cycle. Probst already sliding backwards into 6th. You're looking at the battle for P10 right now. You've got, that is Aiden Neese all the way up on the top. You've got James Danforth all the way up on the bottom. That is 2 contrasting lines. But James Danforth has the speed right now, and he'll take that final spot in the top 10 as Neese tries to fight back.
Starting to see some other battles forming around the racetrack here. Aiden Neese all up in that wall. He's going to make some contact here on the entry of turn 1. That's going to give James Danforth a run on the bottom. So Neese will fall out of that top 10 position he just grabbed a hold of, but here's a battle starting to form for the lead. Levi Cox on the outside line looking to get a run, gets into the wall out of turn 4. Kind of just bounces right off of it, though. He didn't lose a whole lot of speed, so he's going to be right on that back bumper here of Rye Jones down into turn 1. Let's see which lines they decide to take. Jones down to the middle, leaving Levi Cox very little room to make a pass around the outside this time. I think he's going to just look to go for the crossover here down the back stretch, and he will get side by side with the 91 machine down into turn 3.
Got the better run off the corner, which is going to be huge. He'll take a huge send off into 3 and 4. He'll get clear. He'll slide it back up the racetrack, and now it's Rye Jones's turn to try the crossover, working off 4, and he seems to have the faster run down the front straightaway. He won't lead the lap, but he's at the door of the 54 car, and he's quicker off into turn 1. This is going to let Rye Jones pull the exact same move that Levi Cox just did. He'll have to keep it a little lower here to the inside, and that is going to give the 54 the advantage down the back straightaway. Huge run off the corner, and Levi Cox is clear.
So here we go with the 51 leading the pack again. Braxton DeWeese was set back about 3.5 seconds 10 laps ago. He's now within just shy of 1.5 seconds, so that gap is closing there from the third place driver. He does have a little bit of an advantage on the tires over Levi Cox and Rye Jones, but after that slight overcut, it's going to be quite the drive he needs, but running about 0.4 of a second faster than Jones, 0.3 of a second faster than Cox. That gap can close quickly. On your screen now is Chase Berry trying to fend off the 5 of Robert Probst. who does have to slow up a little bit on the bottom of the track as James Danforth moves up another position to the 8th spot. Apologize, the 9th spot. And now it's going to be Robert Probst hoping to hold on to a top 10 here as we've got a big run down the back stretch between Johnny Rapp and I believe that's the 8 of Ellis Thomas there.
By the way, we have a car out of the race from the top 10. Aiden Neese pulled it down pit road, retired from the race. So the 45 car will be done tonight after having a top 10 day. Something going on there. He needed to leave the session. Braxton DeWeese is rapidly gaining time. That gap was 3.5 seconds after the pit stop. It's now down to 1.3 between Levi Cox and Braxton DeWeese for the lead of this race. And that car is flying. He was the fastest car in the top 10 last time around. Only car in the field faster was Jake Mackey back in 13th. DeWeese has a lot of speed, and on those fresher tires, he is really catching the 54 and the 91.
Now, Sky, as a driver, if you're in the seat of the 15, you have to recognize that that strategy did not work with the overcut of just one lap. So, this next pit cycle, what do you expect to see from the 15? Does he come down with the leaders? Or does he try to extend it a little bit further on this second stint?
It all depends on if he's able to get the lead back here. If he gets the lead and he holds it for the rest of this run, I think he'll be a little bit more willing to do an overcut again because he's shown that he has enough long run speed to get the lead back and get it done. If he struggles to pass Jones and Cox here, I think he will try a little bit more of an undercut to try to get himself out front. That way he's in a defending position instead of an attacking one. It really all depends on what he's able to do right here. But at the moment, he definitely seems like he'll have the speed to get around Jones and Cox almost half a second faster that last time around. And if he is able to get that speed and to pass these two cars, then I think he will be more comfortable doing the overcut again.
It's going to boil down, I think, to timing of this, as we are already nearing in on, the window. Actually, the window is open to come down, take fuel, take tires, and make it to the end of this race. Now, you're going to be struggling if we do see one of those green-white checkered attempts. You're likely not going to be able to make it to the end of that. But, I don't know, it's taken him 14 to 15 laps here to get back up to the battle for the lead. So he can't wait too long on that overcut if he decides to do so. It'll be very interesting to keep eyes on the 15, see what Braxton DeWeese has in store. I know strategy has kind of put him in a bad spot late race in a couple of the races this season. So to see it starting to form now, I think he's got a great opportunity ahead of him here.
So we're heading down to almost 30 laps to go here already. The laps ticking off quick in a race that has gone green. Start to lap 49 right now, and it's DeWeese making that move down to the bottom on Rye Jones. We'll see if he can get it clear off the corner. He will. Makes it look easy behind the wheel of that 15 car, and he's only 2/10 back now from your race leader, Levi Cox. What might throw a bit of a wrench in things is that Cox is going to get a draft here from this lap car of Nathan Gentry up in front. That could make it a little bit harder for this 15 to get the move he needs.
So Nathan Gentry in the 18 will be the first car to potentially go a lap down naturally. Aiden Neese, Evan Pienta, Max Cost. Well, actually, Evan Pienta back out on track, so he has taken the 55 from the last position and at least one more up to 26 and has an opportunity to get around the 45 as well. Just a few more laps before that. But again, not the points day that you want to see for your third place point standing sitter. Oh, DeWeese sends it to the bottom of Levi Cox. Gentry all the way up to the top. I don't think the 15 will have the momentum coming off that bottom line. Levi Cox already goes up to the top, but I don't know. Look at this run from the 15. He's going to get the nose ahead right at the line. I don't think that was separated by even 1,000th of a second.
No, iRacing gave Levi Cox the lead there by .000. Dead tie across the line. but Deweese has it down here into 2. He'll slide up across the nose, and the 54 will go for the crossover now down the back straightaway. Levi Cox has that inside lane. Will he get the run to the inside? We know he's working on worse tires, but Deweese seems to have the momentum. He'll back out, and now he'll try the crossover, ducking down to the bottom. It's a better run off the corner for Deweese. Who's going to get it at the line? It looks like it'll be the 15.
That slight dive to the bottom of the track, it doesn't look like much, but with that 11 degrees of banking, you can pick up a little bit more mile an hour. It might only be a half mile an hour, but that's all that you need to beat your opponent to that line. Braxton Deweese trying to get clear of the 54. Levi Cox does a great job of holding on to that door, and he will get right back around here before the entrance of 3. But man, this battle is something fierce. One of the best battles that we've seen all season, Sky, on top of already being the best race we've seen so far.
Neither driver giving an inch here. Levi Cox is doing all he can to defend. He's defended so well all race, but Deweese has been on a charge from 3.5 seconds back to the lead. Will he be able to get clear here out of 2? And will he be able to stop Levi Cox from getting a crossover? The answer to question 1 is yes. The answer to question 2 is no, because the 54 is right back alongside into turns 3 and 4, and we're going to do it all again on lap 53. They're door-to-door through the corner. Cox trying to run Deweese up the racetrack here, and he won't quite get clear. Deweese holds on across the start-finish line.
Man, just right there, side by side, mere inches separating these trucks. And Sky, I have to say, one of my favorite things I am seeing displayed right now are real-life physics in the simulator. As you'll see coming down the back stretch here, Levi Cox, he's going to slide up ahead of Braxton Deweese. Now, Braxton Deweese will get as close as he can, and then he's going to create separation. What he's doing there is getting side draft, and then whenever you create that separation from the truck, it basically acts as a parachute. So you'll see that 54, he kind of got sucked back in speed, allowing Braxton Deweese to get a good run on the bottom of the track, gets completely clear through 3 and 4, and now Levi Cox is on full attack mode, looking to do the same thing to Deweese.
They are still side by side like they've been for the last 5 laps now. Deweese is going to have the run off the corner this time by virtue of being on the high side, and that will finally get him clear. He's going to swerve down to the inside like it's the Indy 500 to try to break the toe from Levi Cox behind, and it seems like that'll work for now. With 25 to go, Braxton Deweese is finally clear of the 54 car, and he's going to try to ride into the sunset as the 54 makes an early pit stop here.
And this is exactly what we saw last time that put the 54 of Levi Cox back in the lead with ease. This undercut here, and we're looking at just 24 laps to the end of this race. It took Braxton Deweese 15 laps to recover after getting undercut by Levi Cox. Let's see how this one plays out. The window is in favor of Braxton Deweese, but anything can change at the snap of a finger, as right now it is heated back here for 3rd place currently. Derek Smith shoots to the bottom, trying to get around the 16 of Brandon Ayers. You've got Chris Smith right on the back bumper looking to the top. Derek Smith, Ayers, both bring it down to pit lane, and then it's going to be Derek.
Oh, Ayers crashed.
Oh, both of them get loose.
Ayers went hard into the inside wall trying to get it down pit road. The front end of that car is destroyed, and he's got a speeding on pit road penalty. That might be the end of the night for Brandon Ayers. At very least, he's going to be multiple laps down after this. We'll get a replay on what happened to that 16 car. And as he comes down into the pits here, he's just going to lose it. There you go. Completely loses that car straight into the inside wall, and that thing is destroyed. He was trying to come down into the pits alongside your Evan Pienta Designs Pole Award winner, Derek Smith. Just couldn't make it work.
Derek Smith certainly got lucky there that the 16 didn't bounce off that inside wall a little bit harder. But here we go. Deweese is fully committed to a much longer overcut than last time. We'll have to see if that pays off. Chris French right now trying to get around Chris Smith. Smith gets a better run on that top line. He'll solidify that third position as French falls in behind. At 53, having a great night so far, up 5 positions, started just inside the top 10 in 9th, currently holding on to the 4th spot. Setting up quite nicely. If we do see that colored flag that we're not going to mention, we're not going to put that
Deweese
bad juju out there.
Deweese has come down the pit lane now. Braxton Deweese, he's going to be one of the earlier cars into pit road because only Ayers, Mitchell, Phillips, Brost, Cox, and Derek Smith have come down so far. So, Levi Cox, being the first driver into the pit lane, has forced Braxton Deweese play a little bit of the undercut himself. We'll see if that works. Levi Cox will have about 3 or 4 laps here on that 15 car, but it'll all depend on how this cycles back around, and it'll all depend on how this plays out for everybody, including Rye Jones, Chris Smith, and Chris French, who are still out on the racetrack.
Looking for something special to happen here tonight. Rye Jones holds on to a 3.5-second lead over Chris Smith. We've seen Chris Smith being very dominant here on these Wednesday nights, always competitive up in the top 5. Tonight doesn't look so favorable for the 28. Is Chris French going to get into the wall down the backstretch? No contact made with Johnny Rapp or the 28 of Smith. Not sure what happened to the 53 there, but he recovers nicely. Doesn't lose much speed at all. He's going to run that middle line here through 3 and 4, try to make something happen, pick up a little bit more mile an hour, and try to get around this 28 machine as he will now take over the lead as Rye Jones has brought it down pit road finally. And it's just a matter of time before we see these 3 drivers bring it down themselves.
Yeah, a couple more stops here. Rye Jones, Ellis Thomas. You can see him moving down your ticker right now. And it looks like a couple cars are going to join them here pretty shortly. Laura Wiseman as well. Looks like we've got about 11 still out on the racetrack, but we're approaching the farthest you can go on this fuel window, so that will change pretty quickly. I want to draw your attention here to the fact that Braxton Deweese has come out of the pits 5 seconds behind the 54 car of Levi Cox. He is going to have a lot of work to do over these next 20 laps if he wants to catch that 54 car. But if anyone can do it, it's Braxton Deweese.
We do just want to recap there. It took 15 laps last time with a 3.5-second gap between Deweese and Cox. So I don't know. This window not looking so great now. I would have felt a lot more comfortable for the 15 machine if he would have brought it down immediately after the 54 did. However, that is not what happened. So this storybook ending just got written in a whole different fashion.
More and more stops coming in here. Deweese is only about 0.2 of a second quicker right now, but Levi Cox's tires have not hit the wall yet. They're 3 laps older. Will that be enough for the 15 to climb his way back up through the field? That is the question. Everybody has come down except for your top 7. Chris French through Rob Liedl are staying it out on the racetrack, maybe hoping for a caution here as they run long, along with Paul Hahn back in 11th. He has not pit either. Those are your 8 cars running this race as long as they can before they hit pit road. And once they all come down, it'll be Levi Cox cycling back to the lead. But hey, Braxton Deweese has already cut half a second off. It was 5 seconds. Now it's getting closer to 4. That 15 car is moving with 18 to go. We'll see if he can get it done.
And just a quick reminder, while we have a small break in heavy action, don't forget to keep those chats rolling. Get those points up. And you can go home with a 2022 Kyle Larson Homestead race winner, 164th diecast. Let's see you guys get hyped here for the last 15 laps of this race, as Johnny Rapp and Chris French are going to battle here down into turn 3. Robert Brobst just ahead of him. But He is going to be no factor for this lead as Chris French is going to back out of it and bring it down pit road. Johnny Rapp will have sole possession of first place as Jake Mackey will also bring it down pit road. So that gap's just going to get bigger and bigger here for the 52 for the next lap.
That it will. And as we hit 15 to go, this time around, all eyes are still on that battle between Levi Cox and Braxton DeWeese. The last time around, it was a 42.1 for Levi Cox. At the line for DeWeese, be a 41.9 flat, so about 2.5 tenths there. I think he's going to need to gain a little bit more than that if he wants to catch Levi Cox, but he's still got time to get that gap down, and it is consistently closing, now at 3.7 seconds. If this stays green, he's going to get there right about when we hit the checkered. It is going to be an exciting finish. Don't go anywhere, because this is going to be fun.
That window, hey, man, I'm getting more and more uncomfortable about it. However, looking at the stats and the lap times right now being put down by the two drivers, I'm with you, Sky. It's going to be that final lap, I think, when this battle really starts to form, unless something crazy happens here and we just have a lot of lap traffic get right in the way. I don't think that's going to happen, as most of these drivers will start to bring it down. Johnny Rapp's going to extend it one more time around and hold on to that number one spot, but we're at 33 laps for Rapp on this run, so he might have one more to go.
Yeah, 33 for Rapp, 32 for Liquor. So that is going to be pretty much the extent of the run here, and Tom Liquor will come down now, so it'll just be Johnny Rapp still out on track as the gap between Cox and DeWeese is now down to 3 seconds. We haven't talked much about points tonight, but this could be a huge race in the points for that 54 car of Levi Cox. Chris Smith, your points leader, would finish third, but this would be Levi Cox's third win on the season. He's only 12 points back of that 66 car, and Evan Pienta, currently in third, has had an awful night and is going to finish in your bottom 3 or 4 cars. Levi Cox could take this gap down to right around 5 points with 2 races to go if he is able to hold on for the lead, which he will take, as Johnny Rapp has finally brought it down pit road with 12 to go. Levi Cox is the leader, and the battle is on between him and DeWeese.
Let's see who has the best strategy of the night. Braxton DeWeese now within 2.5 seconds of Levi Cox. 12 to go on the board. Is it enough time for the 15? Does the 66 of Derek Smith recover here and make a charge back up to the front? He's got a 1-lap tire advantage over Levi Cox. However, at a disadvantage from Braxton DeWeese by 2 laps. Rye Jones also having the freshest tires in the top 5. He is not entirely out of the equation. However, 6 seconds back, it's not looking promising for the 91.
Yeah, I was going to say Derek Smith might want to look behind him, because that 91 car, Rye Jones, bit too late for him to get the lead, but he is ripping right now. 6 tenths faster than Derek Smith last lap. 7.5 tenths faster than the 54 of Levi Cox. Rye Jones is going to try to drive for a podium here on the freshest tires in this top 5. We'll see if he can get that done, as Braxton DeWeese has cut the gap down under 2 seconds now for the lead of the race.
Inching closer and closer. You have to be calm, cool, and collected as you're closing that gap. You do not want to make any mistakes whatsoever, as that gap will start to extend here. DeWeese might have had a little bit of trouble there through turns 3 and 4, but it closes up just as quickly as it opened before Levi Cox was able to get into turn 1. Now, Braxton DeWeese has clean air on the nose, finally around the lap traffic. It is open track here and foot to the floor for the 15. This is the time to burn off any rubber that you had saved up and just fully send it for the next 10 laps to that checkered flag.
You said it, 10 to go. We'll check the times across the line here. For Levi Cox, it's a 42.866. For Braxton DeWeese, 42.585, 0.3 of a second quicker as that 15 continues to gain. And don't look now, but Rye Jones has continued to run 0.7 of a second faster than Levi Cox. I counted him out of it with the amount of laps left, but that 91 is gaining an absurd amount of time. He might burn the tires up here, but it's worth to watching because he's going to get third over Derek Smith at this rate. He could even steal second here. That 91 is moving.
I don't know, Sky. I'm almost feeling a 3-wide finish here at Auto Club tonight.
I'm in. Do it like they did at Atlanta. I'd love that.
Absolutely. That would be just about as cool as you could get here for the finish of such a fantastic race. 72 laps of green flag action. Let's see if we can take it to 80. Let's see if we can get a 3-wide battle at the checkered flag. What's going to happen next?
What's going to happen on
it to the inside?
Yeah, Rye Jones will get that move done pretty easily here for third. I was going to say what's going to happen if we get something like a caution is that everybody has used all their tires. That would be advantage Rye Jones. So he is going to be really hoping we get one of those. I think everybody else in the field will be hoping we stay green, especially Deweese, because now with 8 laps to go, the gap is down to 1 second between your top two. The 15 car was 3.5 tenths faster last time around compared to Levi Cox. Although a bad run out of 2 is going to really hurt his gap because Levi Cox is getting some draft off of that lap car of Tom Licker up in front. That could hurt the 15 unless he is able to get in the 54 car's draft for himself. We'll see down here. It's another great run for the 54 of Levi Cox, and they are going to be a little more even this time around, but the advantage by about 3 tenths is still Braxton Deweese. And the fastest car up here is still Rye Jones.
It almost looked like the 99 of Licker might have slowed down Levi Cox there on his round of 3 and 4 last lap. And now Braxton Deweese starting to close into that bubble that we could see the draft start to play a factor for him. And I would expect here in the next lap or so to see that gap close even faster as he will be able to slingshot around the 99 of Licker.
Yes, Lickard has gotten away there. That is going to stop Levi Cox from getting the draft that he was getting there for a second off that 99 car. And it'll slow the 54 down with 6 laps to go. Deweese is gaining by less and less every time, but he still has the better tires. And even though he's been pushing them, he is still faster. Rye Jones is too far back and he's used up his rubber, so it's all on Braxton Deweese now. With 6 laps to go, 5 to go at the line this time. Can he catch Levi Cox? And more importantly, can he pass him on these worn tires to take the lead of the race? Fall off for everybody now is over a second. The handling is getting worse. Braxton Deweese is going to need every bit of rubber he has if he is to pass the 54 car. At the line that time, only 1/10 of a second quicker. He needs more than that if he wants to win this race.
I'd like that you mentioned the passing opportunity around the 54 of Levi Cox. It's not going to be easy. We've already seen Cox be able to defend 2 lanes, attacking it once, and he held him off successfully for multiple laps. So it's not going to be easy for Braxton Deweese at all. He's going to need a little bit of luck and a whole lot of skill as he is now within a half second. That gap continues to close. And right now, he should be getting right into that draft bubble of Levi Cox. That's going to help as he's going to shoot it down across the apron, trying to save a little bit of time. It doesn't quite work to his advantage. He's going to fall back just a little bit, almost touches that half-second mark again.
Digging deep is that 15 car on the bottom. 0.2 of a second quicker that last time around. A bad lap for Levi Cox means Deweese has started to get his momentum back, and as Levi Cox swerves down the straightaway, doing anything he can to break the draft that the 15 car now has, he can't deny that Braxton Deweese is there, and he is coming to get that 54 car. With 3 laps to go at the line this time, it's all going to come down to this. The 15 taking every bit of lane he can get there on the bottom to close in. Under 0.3 of a second at the line that time. He is there.
And I like what Levi Cox is doing right now. If you keep your eye on that ticker, the only time that you really see Braxton DeWeese make up ground is on corner entry. That means Levi Cox is backing up the corner and saving tires. He has been focused on this battle developing, and he has saved every bit that he can to make sure he can fend off the 15 right now. As they're going to come out of turn 3 and 4, Braxton DeWeese, like you said, he is right there. Levi Cox is going to break that draft. However, it doesn't work as well as he thought it would. DeWeese does get a run on that apron, but coming back up the track like that will slow him down just a touch. And on to the outside line here. Levi Cox in full defense mode. Looks like DeWeese going to try for the crossover here through 1 and 2, but doesn't quite get as much momentum as he needs. Down the backstretch, swerving like it's IndyCar.
DeWeese has been glued to that bottom here for most of the run, but now he's looking to the top. He'll go back to the bottom in 3 and 4 here. Will he be able to get the run? He'll slide up off the corner on Levi Cox. Doesn't get there, but as we come to the Whiplash Simcam's white flag, we're going to be door to door with 1 to go. Braxton DeWeese and Levi Cox for the win of this race. They're dooring each other. Cox is in the fence, and Braxton DeWeese has the run on the inside as we head through 1 and 2. Cox is going to head to the bottom. He'll look for the crossover here, and he will get it. We're side by side for the win down the back straightaway. Levi Cox has the lead. DeWeese is holding him down. He'll go back up to the top here as we enter 3 and 4. One more corner. What will they do? Cox is going to slide up the racetrack to block DeWeese. Will he have the momentum? He's in the fence, and that is going to give the win off turn 4 to Levi Cox at Auto Club.
If you were not standing for the entire white flag lap, I don't know if you're a race fan here tonight. What an incredible finish and a battle from start to end. Green flag racing for the first time this season, 80 laps in the book.
What a race.
There's so many other words to describe this, and really the one that's just going to stand out the most is incredible and best race of the season.
What a race, man. We're going to get to watch Levi Cox get to burn it down here for his 3rd win of the season. A win that is going to vault him right back into championship contention, because with a 4th place finish for your points leader, Derek Smith, that gap is going to come down substantially here. Levi Cox, take a bow, because he is right back in this thing for the win of the Mythic Metals Truck Series.
You know, I have to think, too, I believe there's even bonus points for maybe most laps led and race wins. So this points lead battle might even be closer than we're expecting, as Levi Cox claims 52 out of 80 laps led tonight.
Yeah, I think he gets another bonus point there for leading the most laps, so that is going to be huge for that 54 car. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll have results and interviews from the top 3. Stay tuned.
Hey partner, I'm Barry, your pocket crew chief, the very first AI-powered mechanic for sim racing. Got a car that's a little loose or tight? Just tell me how it's handling, and I'll whip up instant setup recommendations just for you. Want me to get even more precise? Snap a picture of your setup, and I'll fine-tune it to perfection. And hey, I'm not just about giving orders. I'll explain why every adjustment matters, so you can really understand your ride. I'll even teach you the science behind the setup. Ever wondered why the track bar is so important? I've got the answer. With Pocket Crew Chief, I'll make you smarter, faster, and race ready. So what are we waiting for? Let's build to win.
We are back here for the Mythic Metals Truck Series at Auto Club, and after an amazing race, we're going to take a look at your finishing results tonight. You see your winner right there, the 54 car of Levi Cox got it done in a last lap battle over the 15 of Braxton Deweese. Rye Jones brought it home third after a great charge, while your points leader coming into this race, Derek Smith, only finishes fourth. Chris Smith will be fifth tonight with Chris French having a good run in P6. James Danforth 7th, Ellis Thomas 8th, Chase Berry 9th, and Robert Brobst P10.
Just outside of the top 10, it's the 14 of Tony Caputo, followed up by the 13 of Jake Mackey in 12th. Laura Wiseman takes the 84 to a 13th place finish, and Johnny Rapp, who we saw up in the lead for a good portion of the race based off of an overcut strategy, the 52, ends up finishing in 14th. Not quite where he was hoping to be. The 11 of Brian Brobst will be right behind, however, in 15th, followed up by the 23 of Zachary Mitchell. The 56 of Jacob Phillips takes home 17th, and the 99 of Tom Lickard in 18th. Last but not least, in our top 20, it's the 42 of Paul Thomas and the 7 of Paul Hahn, one lap down.
Finishing back from there, it's the 60 of Steve Vest, the 18 of Nathan Gentry. Rob Liedel, Brandon Ayers, your last two finishers, and then Evan Pienta, Aiden Neese, and Max Cost did not make it to the checkered flag here tonight. We're going to start by interviewing your winner, and we're going to call him Levi Cox up here into the booth. How you doing, Levi? Levi Cox, do you have a copy?
I do.
How you feeling after that win, man?
Sweating.
That was a great battle there with Braxton Deweese at the end of the race. Tell us about those last 20 laps for you.
Let's see. That first green flag pit stop, I had a 25 lap run coming to the next pit stop, and that's whenever Braxton got me, and as soon as he passed me, I mean, that's whenever I peeled down pit road. So I knew we were going to have another 25 lap run, and I was just curious if he was going to catch me, and I felt like I could hold him off for a lap or two. So I felt like I had 25 to 27 laps, and he was just closing in inch by inch, and he got there with about a lap to go, and we pretty much had one move apiece, and that's how it turned out.
I want to hear a little bit more about your battle with about lap 50 too, because y'all were going crossover back to back for about 5 or 6 laps there.
Yeah, I was sitting there actually on lap 53. We're extremely tight. I mean, I thought it was good, hard, clean racing. I mean, you're going to make a little bit of contact through the middle of the race. I mean, there was no ill intent or anything like that. We were just doing everything we could, side drafting, pinching just a little bit. So that's just hard racing. I was trying to... Derek got the pole, so he got a point right there. So I was trying to keep him from leading a lap and leading the most laps myself. So I was just trying to do everything I could to get the most points I could tonight.
Yeah, I was going to mention it. You're right back into the fight for the championship lead here. It'll be under 10 points heading into the last 2 races. What do you got to do to bring it home?
I think just keep doing what we're doing. I mean, keeping it clean, bringing home top 5s, leading laps. I think we got Dover and Homestead left, and Dover is a really great track for me. Homestead can be hit or miss depending on setup. So just keep doing what we're doing, try to lead the most laps, qualify on a pole, and win races.
By the way, they just updated the points, and I believe you will be 5 points back after this race. Anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
Yeah, give me just 1 second.
You're all good.
Alright, Big Fast Racing, all the guys in there that encouraged me and just let me hang out with them. Number 1 Hero Cards, Mythic Metals, Duncan Water Systems, Overcut Still Graphics Design, Cody Glenn Cox Music on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Spotify. Go check him out. He just released a cover of Johnson Boys, pretty good little single. And then last but not least, Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for giving me life and just allowing me to do something I enjoy.
All right, congrats on your 3rd win of the season here at Auto Club, Levi Cox.
Thanks, sir. Y'all have a good night.
We're going to throw it down now to Logan Threlkeld, who is standing by with our second place finisher tonight, Braxton DeWeese.
We've got Braxton DeWeese on the second step of the podium in a heated battle. Almost puts you on the top step here tonight. Braxton, you started back in the 13th position. We saw you get up to the battle quite early in the race, but you had to use up quite a bit of tire. And then we saw you take an overcut strategy on the first stint and a much longer overcut strategy on the second stint. Do you think that if you were to replay this race, you would change that at all, or would you stick with the same thing as you were right there for the battle for the win in the last lap?
It's hard to say whether or not you wanted to change just because we were right there, but just thinking about it a little bit, if I probably pitted maybe a lap after Levi, it probably would have helped. I felt like we definitely had the pace after the first run. If that run kept going, that we were potentially going to pull away a little bit, because anytime we get out in the lead and about 0.1 to 0.2 of a second would happen, he'd end up pitting, and usually that's when pit stops would start to happen anyway. So we definitely needed to qualify a little bit better, but coming from 13th here is always pretty good. The draft's a big deal. Being on the high side's a big deal. Going down low, you need to make sure you make the pass, or side draft like crazy and make the pass in the next turn, or it's just you're going to hold you and the other person back, and someone might go 3 wide. All that might happen. So glad to be able to get there after the first run, especially with the race going green. I did pretty well with my tires, I felt like. Just maybe a teeny tight on entry, but center off, it was a little skatey. So just tried to be patient with the throttle and just tried to do the best I could. And I was glad that I was able to get there, but probably could have executed a little bit better. We had to gain 5 seconds on them with 3-lap fresher tires. So I didn't want to burn my stuff up. I probably could have went a little bit harder maybe, but at the same time, if I would have done that, I might not have been able to get there at the end, because it started to even off a lot more. But it is what it is.
Well, fantastic race nonetheless. 11 positions gained. You're the third highest moving driver in the field. So that's something to say, to be up here in the top 3 and be able to claim that position. We see you up here battling for top 5 positions week in and week out. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Tonight, obviously falling in your favor. Now, I do want to ask, we saw you moving up and down the track pretty well all night long. Which line seemed to be the most favorable for you?
If we were just running by ourselves like we were there at the end, or if I was catching somebody, the bottom was definitely the lane to be able to run. At least for me, I felt like I was able to make it work pretty well. I didn't really see anybody else be able to go down to the line like I was and be able to make the speed coming off. Or I might not have been paying attention enough, just worrying about my race. But felt pretty good to be able to go up to the high side as well. It would get a little tight on entry. And maybe it was a tad bit more loose on entry, more like the turn that we had in the center and the exit on the entry, then it probably could have worked a little bit better in my opinion. But you still could get a good run off. Definitely did that a couple times. I felt like a slide job was definitely a half slide job was definitely the type of move you had to make if you and the other guy were even. So pulled them a couple times, pulled that in 1 and 2. Every time I pulled that move in the first and second runs, we were able to make it work and be able to hold them off. But just needed to have a little bit better of a 3 and 4 to stay to the outside or be able to cut down. I don't know if I would have been able to do anything cut down. I would have had to lift, and that would have lost some momentum. And if I would have stayed to the outside, I don't know if we would have survived off the corner. But second is better than third, and so on. So, I just need to go to these next 2 weeks and try to win if I want to have a shot at this championship. But with these front runners and the points battle finishing up here, it definitely makes my job a little bit harder and makes me wish I had run a little bit better in earlier in the season. But all you can do is live and learn from it.
Hindsight is 2020. Still a very well put together season, and you still have a chance with 2 more weeks left to make something special happen. Braxton DeWeese, we're getting kind of used to it up here. The floor is yours. Let's hear how fast you can rattle off these sponsors this week.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I actually wanted to take just a second. I don't want to ramble too long because I've already rambled enough. I just wanted to say happy birthday to my papa, Laird in heaven. We gave him a pretty good run. Just needed just a little bit extra there at the end to give him the win, but nonetheless, we had a good run. So happy birthday to him. He was always the one to, no matter where you were, no matter who was in the room, he was always going to be the one to make everybody laugh. So, I try to be like him and try to carry the sayings that he has. He says, I can't wait till tomorrow, get better looking every day. He'll say some other sayings of glad you got to see me when he's leaving, just some little stuff. So miss him, and I hope to make him proud here in the Thunder Roadster here coming up. I haven't really announced it, but I'm going to be making my first start in real life with a Thunder Roadster potentially this weekend at Anderson Speedway in Indiana. Either way, we're definitely going to be running Labor Day weekend at Winchester, and hopefully we can be comfortable enough to try to go for a win. But nonetheless, big shout out to Interstate Ford on the truck. Happy Karaoke. A lot of happy stuff with them coming up in the future. 3 Ice Cream Shop, Allen's Arts Images, Bennett's Public World, James on Main, Dweez Renovations, Elevated TV, Unrivaled Innovations, Short Track Report, Scrum and Tires Media, Booth 34 Diecast, Blaze Designs, Evan Pienta Designs, Chance 3 Design Shop, and I still believe Bully Dog Coffee Company. I haven't talked to him in a little while. I need to give him a holler, but y'all can try to go see if it's Brax 5 for 10% off over there. And I appreciate y'all letting me ramble on. I know a lot of people are sick and tired of it, so I'll get on out of here.
Well, again, congratulations, Braxton. P2 making it a little bit more special here tonight. We'll see you in the next couple weeks and see if you can maybe take over that point standing.
Yeah, we'll see. We need a little bit of luck, but hit a couple of tracks that I have had some previous success at, so just got to do it this time. So we'll see what we can do. Y'all have a good one.
That we will. And again, congratulations and good luck if you get to make that real life start this weekend.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'll have GoPro footage on my YouTube channel. I'll plug that real quick, Braxton D Racing. So I'll have all that over there, and hopefully I do a pretty good job. If not, y'all tell me otherwise.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Your P2 finisher started back in 13th, made it up here to the podium. Braxton Dweez, and that's going to leave us with one more to go. Sky Shrek, I believe you're caught up with Rye Jones in the 91 machine, taking home third place.
Yeah, I have. Rye Jones, how you feeling?
Man, I'm tired. That was fun.
Tell me about the end of that race, because you had a rocket there. You were the fastest car on track over those last 20 laps.
Yeah, I think I pitted just about one lap too late. If I pitted just one lap earlier, I think I wouldn't have lost so much coming out of the pits, and I think I could have had something for him. It's all right. For most people that know me, I hate racing like that. I always like to pit early, and it usually bites me in the butt, and a caution would come out. So if I had pitted early, I probably would have been unlucky there too. I don't know, but it was fun. It was fun feeling fast and catching them. When I came out of pits and I was like 8 seconds behind, I was like, oh god, I ain't gonna catch them. Sure enough, I started catching them. I was like, oh man, if they can just rough it up just a little bit, I could maybe get them. And I started pushing really hard with about 5 to go. I was like, oh, I'm just going to go as hard as I can. And the tires definitely kind of got ate up on the right front there. But, I mean, it was still working. I don't know what I was doing, but it was still kind of working. And it was a lot of fun. And glad to get a top 3 finish again. It's been a while.
I was going to say, is it really fun when you get these long green flag runs and you're able to play a strategy out over the course of the race?
Absolutely. If you can ask anybody in this league, I have been the promoter of wanting to make these races longer and adding another set of tires, which I hope we do next season. And I like the longer runs. It feels more realistic to me. It makes me better racing these cars. It helps me learn to save tires better, and for the longest time I struggled with that, and just over time I've gotten better at it. And so if we can get like these long runs, like if we can get them every race, man, this would be the it's already one of the best leagues, but I mean it would be the best if you could run like almost every race green. So it was cool that happened. I think that's the first time we've done it this season, and let's keep it going.
All right, anyone you want to thank tonight?
I gotta thank you guys putting on a good show. Can't wait to watch the replay. Gotta thank all the clean racing today. I felt like everything was really clean. Gotta thank the Payday teammates and all of the Spark admins and sponsors and everything for putting all this together. I know it's a lot of work, and just gotta thank everybody that tunes in and watches. I don't know if my mom watched tonight, but if she did, hi mom, love you. And yeah, looking forward to next week.
All right, congrats on P3 tonight, Rye Jones.
All right, thanks, guys.
Looking real quick ahead to next week, we are going to be at Dover. Logan, what are your thoughts on that one?
Man, after seeing this race here tonight, I don't know if I quite want to follow it up with such a short track style. You know, it's Dover. It's the Monster Mile. It's going to be hectic through and through, start to finish. It's going to be the entire opposite of what we saw tonight. But I could not be more proud of this group of drivers here. 80 laps of green flag running here at Auto Club. What did I say at the beginning of this one? Auto Club always puts on a fantastic race, and it most certainly supplied that here tonight.
That it did. It was really an amazing one tonight, and I think we're lucky to have such a great race, as always, here in the Mythic Metals Truck Series in the Spark Racing League. If you enjoyed tonight's coverage, be sure to like and subscribe to Slingshot Racing Media to catch everything here in the Spark Racing League. For everybody behind the scenes at Spark and SRM, for Logan and Kobe up here in the booth with me, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Have a good night.
Looking for a good time. Close your eyes to listen to the